Every year, humans buy more than 500 billion plastic bottles of water. That is roughly 65 bottles for every single person on the planet. Most of those people have a tap in their home. That tap works perfectly fine. And yet the bottled water industry is worth over $300 billion and growing every single year. This is not a story about thirst. This is a story about one of the most remarkable marketing operations in modern history. Average Joe does not think of himself as someone who gets tricked by advertising. He recycles, reads labels, and considers himself reasonably smart about where his money goes. He also spends roughly $260 a year on bottled water. Water that falls freely from the sky. Water that flows into his house through pipes he already pays for. The bottled water industry did not happen by accident. It was built, piece by piece, over several decades, by some of the largest food and beverage companies on Earth, and the core of the entire business model is something both simple and slightly audacious: convincing people to buy something they already have for free. The story really begins in the 1970s. Before that, bottled water existed, but was mostly associated with European mineral springs and people who considered themselves sophisticated. The average household had no particular interest in paying for water. Then something changed. Public trust in tap water started to decline. A series of water contamination stories in the 1970s and 1980s planted a seed of doubt in the public mind. Was the water coming out of the tap actually safe? Corporations noticed this anxiety very quickly, and they noticed something else at the same time. Sparkling mineral water brands had successfully sold bottled water as a luxury lifestyle product to a new generation of consumers. The lesson the industry took was not about water, it was about perception. If you could make people feel that tap water was slightly suspicious and bottled water was slightly aspirational, you had a business. The 1990s were when everything accelerated. Campaigns began showing fit, healthy people drinking bottled water after exercise. The connection between bottled water and health was not an accident. It was a deliberate marketing strategy. Suddenly, water was not just water. Water was a lifestyle choice. Water was a statement about who you were and how you took care of yourself. Now here is where the business model gets genuinely interesting. Most people assume that bottled water companies find pristine mountain springs and carefully bottle the pure natural water that flows from them. Some brands do this, but a significant portion of the bottled water sold globally comes from something far more ordinary: municipal water supplies. The same water that comes out of your tap, taken, filtered, sometimes with minerals added back in, and sold at a markup of up to 2,000%. Multiple major brands publicly acknowledge that their water originates from municipal sources. So in many cases, the product being sold is not rare spring water. It is tap water in a more expensive container, but the container is doing an enormous amount of work. The label on a bottle of water is one of the most carefully constructed pieces of marketing on any supermarket shelf. Mountains are popular. Glaciers are popular. Words like pure, natural, fresh, and crisp appear constantly. The imagery is designed to make the consumer feel they are drinking something ancient, cold, and completely untouched by the modern world, even when the water inside originated from a processing facility in an ordinary industrial area. The plastic bottle itself also plays a psychological role. Research shows that people consistently rate the taste of the same water as better when it comes from a bottle versus a tap. The packaging creates a taste expectation. The taste expectation shapes the actual experience. The entire product is partially an illusion built by design. And then there is the health angle. The bottled water industry benefited enormously from growing public concern about tap water safety. In some places, this concern is completely justified. Real contamination events have occurred in cities around the world. The industry did not create those problems, but it did benefit from them. Every time a contamination story made national news, bottled water sales in that region spiked. Fear is an extremely effective marketing tool, even when you do not use it directly. Now here is the twist that almost nobody expects. Bottled water is regulated less strictly than tap water in many countries. In many regulatory systems, tap water requires continuous testing and mandatory public reporting. Bottled water in those same systems faces significantly less rigorous oversight requirements. The product millions of people buy specifically because they believe it is safer is often subject to less safety testing than what comes out of the tap. The environmental side of this industry deserves a moment too. Fewer than 30% of plastic water bottles are recycled in many countries. The rest end up in landfills or waterways. The industry has responded to environmental pressure by producing slightly thinner bottles and funding recycling awareness campaigns. Neither intervention has significantly changed the underlying problem. So what is actually being sold here? Not water. Water is just the delivery mechanism. What is actually being sold is the feeling of making a healthy, responsible, smart choice about what goes into your body. The entire product is built around an identity, not a liquid. Average Joe buys bottled water because it feels like the kind of thing a person who takes care of themselves does. That feeling is worth $300 billion a year. Here is what makes this story genuinely fascinating. The solution to almost everything bottled water promises already exists in most households. A simple water filter costs less than $30. It removes the same contaminants the bottled water companies use as selling points. It produces essentially no plastic waste, and it costs a fraction of a cent per liter compared to bottled water. The product that would make bottled water almost completely unnecessary is sitting quietly in hardware stores, completely unmarketed, because nobody is spending $300 billion to tell you about it. The bottled water industry is not selling you water. It is selling you the gap between what tap water actually is and what it feels like. Close that gap in your head, and the entire business model dissolves. The most expensive liquid in your refrigerator probably costs less than a penny to produce. The rest of the price is a story someone told you about a mountain. And if you look closely at the label, you can usually see exactly where the story begins.